Story 1. I don't want to be not safe for work, but I always used to masturbate with the same hand, so once I started switching, it felt surprisingly good. It's almost like someone else does it for you, kind of a brain trick. Story 2. When I fractured my right wrist, I had to use my left hand for a little while, and I noticed I am able to clean dishes a lot faster with my left hand, which was good for taking care of things around the house and work. I also discovered I could draw in a unique art style that is super sketchy but very detailed. I can't replicate it with my right hand, and it gives me a sense of satisfaction knowing that I have some artistic ability with both hands. Story 3. Weirdly, clean piano. Being right-handed, my left hand is very weak and much slower on the uptake when I am learning something new. However, bizarrely, once I have learned something fully, I very rarely make mistakes with the left hand. Story 4. I have some weakness in my dominant hand due to cubital tunnel syndrome, so my hand and wrist sometimes experience weakness and pain. I was standing in line at a bank a few weeks ago for about 30 minutes, and my hand was getting fatigued just holding an envelope. It is frustrating. Story 5. As a left-hander, I had to learn to blow glass right-handed. To be honest, I don't even know if I could do it left-handed. The normal setup is so ingrained now. Story 6. I wipe my bottom with my non-dominant hand. I also use my non-dominant hand when I self-stimulate. Is that unusual? I'm considering that this might be unusual for a couple of reasons. One being, I just realized I use the same hand for both actions. Is this normal? Story 7. I can write with both hands, but I can draw with my right hand. I can cut with my left hand, and using the wrong hand for a task makes it harder to complete. Story 8. I'm left-handed, but I write right-handed because I learned to write it too and didn't show a hand preference until I was 5. And of course, Mom put the pen in my right hand. Story 9. I could say I am right-handed, but I will gladly use either hand for anything except writing and drawing, which I attribute to practice. However, I feel like my right hand is better at making precise arcs, and my left hand is better at making straight movements. Story 10. I count cash, snowboard, and swing a bat with my left better than right. Whenever I try to do any of those with my right, I look like an uncoordinated klutz and my brain freaks out. Story 11. Lefty here. Nunchucks, pistol, scissors, grip, chopsticks, guitar. And if you add other body type movements, skate, surf, snowboard, I am goofy foot, slide on floor right foot forward. Lastly, an odd note. My wife has to have her pinky on the outside of mine when we hold hands. It doesn't matter which hand. Her pinky has to be dominant. Laugh out loud. Oddly enough, I play drums like a psycho and can't do the opposing hi-hat snare. It's backwards to me. Story 12. As a left-handed person, there are a few things to note. I mostly use scissors. I even bought left-handed scissors, but after over 30 years of using right-handed ones, when I try to use my left hand, my perception is off and I can't cut where I intend to. It makes me feel like a child again. I gave up trying a few years ago. I also use a computer mouse. I attempted to use it with my left hand on my personal computer about a decade ago. Story 13. I'm right-handed but lead with my left for many daily activities. I open bottles, reach for things around the house, and drive or steer with my left hand. I can bat left-handed a little better than right-handed, and I hold and use a shovel like a left-hander. This translates to how I hold a hockey stick. I swing a golf club right-handed, but with 4 or 5 practice swings, I can hit left-handed a bit straighter. I play the drums and tend to lead with my left hand and foot in certain situations. I use my left hand for tasks like using the computer mouse. My grandma was apparently ambidextrous, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. I definitely don't write with both hands, though. Story 14. Macro movement while cooking, like putting meat on a grill or taking items from the oven. Holding Ethernet cables stable while I make ends for them. WASD keys. Story 15. I'm right-handed, but I swing a bat left-handed. I also swing axes, sledgehammers, and anything else left-handed that require 2 hands. I can write poorly but legibly left-handed. I use my offhand for a lot of things because I've forced myself to be more ambidextrous throughout my life. I like having things like bracelets, like admittance ones, on my left hand, but I will never have a watch on it. Story 16. I broke my arm a number of years ago and had to learn to do everything left-handed. I still wipe my ass left-handed and will occasionally rub one out lefty if I have some extra time to kill. Story 17. Weirdly, throw darts. I feel like I should practice shooting left-handed too because I'm strongly left-eye dominant, which I think is partially responsible for my left-handed dart game. Story 18. I'm weird in that I'm like 70% right-handed and 30% left-handed. There are various things that I just do naturally or better with the non-dominant one and have my whole life. Story 19. Predominantly right-handed, but I can do everything except right with my left hand. Breaking your collarbone 3 times in 4 years helps. The best thing I'm good at left-handed, though, is bowling. Story 20. For whatever reason, I haven't figured out why I'm more comfortable holding my phone in my right hand, but pressing the digits with my left index finger. If I'm operating any equipment that has a foot pedal, I have all the machines in my machine shop set so the foot pedal is on the left, which confuses the other employees. Story 21. Left-handed here. I taught myself how to be ambidextrous a few years ago. Now I can play baseball, tennis, use chopsticks, and hold a can of beer or soda better with my right hand. I've also taught myself how to write right-handed recently, but it's still kind of messy. Story 22. Right dominant usually, but I use my left hand for bowling, swinging an axe, doing cartwheels, stacking and carrying wood on my arm, and I am almost entirely left-footed. Many hold position and don't actively pay attention for a bit tasks I do with my left hand. When doing them with my right hand, I absolutely have to pay attention or it's disastrous. I have a fair bit of codominance as well. I can pour liquids equally easily with both hands, throw balls or frisbees, use a shovel, play tennis, and brush my teeth. Story 23. Brush my teeth. I'm left-handed but always brushed right-handed. My parents tried making me a righty as a kid. For some reason, only toothbrushing stuck. Story 24. Carry anything heavy. Right hand does the detail work. Left is straight grip and go. Once I lock in a lift, I can basically forget about it. Letting go can be painful if I carry something too long. Story 25. I'm the token left-handed person at work. If no one can get in to unscrew a TV off the wall, I'm called in. Any other time I'm considered disabled, apparently. Answer to the question. Play darts, I throw like a girl with my left hand. Story 26. I hold a hockey stick and broom left-handed. I use my left hand to aim my penis when I sit to use the bathroom, but use my dominant hand to aim when I stand. As an adult, I randomly got a hold of a hockey stick again, and it just felt weird to hold it right-handed. I play golf as a right-hander. I sometimes think about the advantage I'd have playing as a left-hander if I had ever gotten into hockey seriously. These are delusional ramblings of what if when the only hockey I ever played was in the street on rollerblades with the neighborhood kids when I was about 8 years old. Story 27. I am right-hand dominant and right-handed. I play golf, hockey, bat, etc. left-handed. I could not do those things with my dominant hand. But I also use a bow and arrow or sight and gun right eye and right-hand dominant. So, I guess there's no making sense of it. Story 28. I play all sports with my left hand and write with my right hand. I am pretty sure I was supposed to be left-handed, and the now-defunct private preschool my parents enrolled me in didn't like me writing with my left hand, so they forced me to use the other one. So, I am kind of ambidextrous? Story 29. Serious answer. If you train it. I played a sport where I needed to use the right and left hands equally well. I'm right-hand dominant. As young as 7, I made it a point to use my left. I'd eat with it right, brush my teeth, etc. My right is stronger, but I can do everything with my right and my left proficiently. I typed this with my left. Story 30. Okay, sometimes I find that I can grip, level, and balance things with my left hand way better than my right. At work, I am always curious when this happens. I will go out of my way to use my non-dominant hand to balance or carry something, and it seems so natural. But writing my name with my left hand? Forget about it. Story 31. I don't think it technically counts, but most things I use my left hand for. Examples are eating, writing, and reaching for things. However, growing up, my dad is the one that taught me sports. And because he is right-handed, I play all sports right-handed. What's funny too is that I shoot rifles left-handed, but pistols I shoot right-handed. Story 32. Impress people with its scars? I work in trades, so I have a decent number of work scars, and the left hand and arm have about 4 times as many as the right. Story 33. This one is tough for me since I am left-handed in that I write with my left hand, but I do pretty much everything else with my right hand. Throw, eat, shoot a basketball, etc. So, I suppose if my dominant hand is my left, it's everything except writing, and if it's my right hand, then it's writing. Story 34. This has nothing to do with the question, but it reminded me of it and I thought it was funny, so here you go. I once broke my right wrist and had to get a cast. Because of this, I started learning to write with my left hand and actually got pretty decent at it. But one time, I tried to masturbate with my left hand, but it was too awkward and difficult. So I just ended up using my right hand with the cast still on. Fingerless cast. Story 35. The funny thing is that my non-dominant hand became my dominant. I was left-handed but broke the wrist when I was learning to write and then broke the elbow a few years later. So I always write right-handed, but generally, everything else is easy to do ambidextrously now. I favor the right hand because the world favors the right-handed with most products. Story 36. Any swinging sports, I guess. Want to write? Use your right hand. Oh, you want to kick something? Guess what? Right side again. Care to hit, throw, or shoot at something with a club or a stick of any kind? It's left-handed for you. Story 37. Both of my hands can do the same things apart from writing. I am training myself to write with my left hand. I catch better with my non-dominant hand. Story 38. I'm a weird mixed bag. I write and eat with my left hand. I throw a ball and masturbate with my right hand. I struggle hard to do any of those with the opposite hands. Story 39. Honestly, my non-dominant hand is surprisingly better at doing random stuff like tapping rhythmically or holding things for a long time without getting tired. My dominant hand is the go-to for tasks like writing or eating, but my non-dominant hand has some sneaky skills that I didn't know it had until I actually tried using it more. It's like the underdog. Story 40. Just about any sport also cut with scissors. Growing up, there was never anyone around who was left-handed like me who played sports, so I learned from right-handed people. Eventually, I just got used to doing most sports-related things right-handed. As for using scissors, schools didn't have scissors that worked well for left-handed people. Even in high school, I loved art and sculpting and really wanted to do pottery. No matter how hard I tried to throw clay, I couldn't get it. Then one day, I was in a different class, and my ceramics teacher came in. He happened to see me writing left-handed and took me out of that class to his ceramics class, where he reconfigured one of the kick wheels for a left-handed person, and I was a natural. I had spent so much time practicing throwing clay and centering from the wrong position that when I was set up correctly, I could throw with ease. Story 41. Everything except writing and using a fork. I'm left-dominant, but my right side is stronger. I also learned everything, like knitting and crocheting, from right-handed people. Story 42. I don't know about my hand, but my non-dominant foot somehow kicks a football harder and with more accuracy than my dominant foot, which passes the ball accurately but hits like a wet noodle. Story 43. Cut fruit. At the height of my carpal tunnel pain when starting a new job as a fruit cutter, I learned to do it with my non-dominant hand. It was a new task anyway, so I just learned it on the other side. It worked like a charm and increased my fine motor skills on that side. Story 44. Left-handed individuals are essentially compelled to become ambidextrous because much of society is focused on right-handedness. As a child, you're often taught many things in a right-handed manner. As a result, I play stick sports like golf, hockey, and baseball right-handed. I use right-handed scissors, and my writing is decent. Story 45. Fret notes on a guitar. I am right-handed, and I have tried playing left-handed guitars just to see if I could, and fretting with my right hand just does not compute. Story 46. Weirdly, bowling. I am left-handed, but the only thing I can comfortably do with my right hand is throw a bowling ball, as well as use a mouse and other things designed classically for right-handed people. The bowling thing always puzzles me, though. Story 47. I can catch with my left hand better than I can with my dominant hand, with or without a baseball mitt. Very weird sensation. My right hand doesn't even know what to do when it comes to catching a baseball. Story 48. I broke my right elbow on my dominant arm a few years ago and had to learn to do a lot of things with my left arm. I found I could draw better with my left arm. Story 49. Control my bicycle when I'm cycling with one hand on the front handles. The reason for this is mainly that one-hand cycling is required when I'm usually doing or holding something with the other hand, which is usually my dominant hand. Hence, the non-dominant hand got good at the other task, controlling the bicycle. Story 50. In boxing, my left was more effective than my right. There were a couple of times I hit the liver just right on some people with a funky left hand to the body, and it was crazy to see them keel over in such pain. This happened to me before too, and it's excruciating. Story 51. A Vietnamese waitress played a mind trick on me. One day, while at lunch in Houston decades ago, everyone having lunch was using chopsticks except me because I'm a country boy and didn't know how, and a fork was good enough. Food gets into the mouth, who cares how? She walked over and said, "I'll show you how." Then, I grabbed them with my right hand, and she said, "No, we will use your left hand." And within 5 minutes, I was using them like a pro. She said it was easier because the chopsticks were new and that my right hand had too much experience with the fork and wouldn't cooperate. I forgot her name, but thank you, young lady. You opened up my thought processes.